Hey guys, just wanted to show you a cabinet I picked up recently from that local thrift store that was selling arcade machines. And pretty much this cabinet hopefully is going to become my MAME project. Been wanting to build a MAME cabinet for a long time. And this is a pretty standard looking cabinet, just the shape of it. But I really kind of like that in a way. But they had lots of cabs, not too many gutted like I was hoping they'd have, because they said that I could get a completely gutted one for, you know, $50 to $150, and I think the guy I talked to was exaggerating the price a little bit, because the guy who really owns the store, he started quoting me some higher prices when I got to looking at cabs. But I picked this entire cab up for $175, and it's I think a 1990 cab. I know the game was put out in 1990. I'm not 100% positive that this bowling game, it's made by Strata. I'm not 100% positive that this was the dedicated cab it came in, because this may have been sold as a kit. Haven't done a lot of research on that yet. Kind of looks like it could be a kit, because I mean it's just got the simple side art and the marquee, and you know, I don't know, the way it's set up though, really the control panel and all looks like it was really made like a dedicated to me. This part folds up. It's kind of interesting. It's not like some control panels that just pop off or tilt forward. Half the front of the entire machine kind of opens up. See if I can show you here. There's a piano hinge right there, and there's your circuit board, and it's in really good shape. There's hardly a speck of dust on it. That's a Incredible Technologies Strata bowling board. Got a service button there. Coin mechs. There's a very large trackball. I think that thing's like a 4-inch or even larger trackball. I'm not sure, it's huge. And some buttons for the top. But it's got a little wear and tear on it. Not too bad. But really, to me, it looks like it's probably, you know, was set up as a dedicated machine. I just don't know if they sold these as dedicated or not. I'll have to do some research. Very large trackball, you can see there. I know it's bigger than a 3-inch. I just don't know how big it is. I think it's a 4 or larger. And got the older style coin mechs there built into that part that folds down. Got red laminate on the front of the cab. Red laminate on both sides. There's a pretty large scratch there going all the way from front to back, kind of deep into the laminate. And that sound you hear is my macaw crawling around on his cage. But both sides just got that simple side art and the red laminate. And what was in this whenever I first got it was a 19-inch monitor, and there's the controls for it, and there's the chassis. It's mounted to the inside there. The tube was mounted vertical right there, and that's the tube there that came out. I think this is a let's see, trying to look for the make on it. I don't know if this is a Zenith tube or what. I'll have to take a look, but it's a Shark chassis, I know that. And my hopes were to get a cab that was smaller than my Mortal Kombat's, because I didn't want it to take up that much space, because I don't have a lot of room for any extra cabs. But my hope was to get a smaller cab, and this one's dimensions, like from front to back, this thing is about 10 inches less from front to back, the depth of the cab, than the Mortal Kombat's. And the width of the cab is maybe only about 3 inches less. I can't remember the exact measurements, but I compared them recently. And it is going to save some space, but I kind of forgot to check the depth of the cabinet to make sure it had enough clearance for a large monitor I wanted to put in there. I didn't want to keep the same monitor even if I turned it into a horizontal position. I wanted to use this monitor. This is a 25-inch, came out of a Street Fighter cab that I got from a fella. And it's got very slight Street Fighter screen burn. It's not too bad at all unless you put it on like a solid red test screen. When the game's playing, it just looks great. You can't really see anything, but it's got a Gardner K7100 series chassis on it. And I think it's been recapped recently. Works really great. I tested it out, and I was just hoping I could fit it in here, but even though, you know, I checked for like the height and the width, I did forget, with this being a smaller cab, I really needed to check the depth, and I forgot to do that. and it looks like if there's any way possible for me to squeeze that monitor into this cab, it is going to be such a tight fit. I mean, up here in the front, I'm probably not going to have even half an inch to an inch before the front of the tube, so it's not going to be laying back very much. I mean, the only way to get around that is to practically lay the monitor completely flat. I mean, even flatter than this one was originally. You see, this is down at a very low angle, and like the Mortal Kombat cabs, the monitor's like all the way up here, you know, the front of the tube. Well, this one was laying way down and in a vertical position, and I know I'd have enough clearance if I turned the existing 19-inch monitor to a horizontal position. I know I'd have enough clearance with it, but you know, it would still, with the neck sticking off, it's still not but a few inches difference than the neck and the neck board on that monitor. But still, it's just, there's like probably about 18 inches of depth, I think. If you looked at that monitor as like a large 3D block, there's like 18 inches of depth. There's about 24 and a half inches of width or so, and probably 18 to 19 inches of height on the monitor. And I measured earlier, and depending on the angle I mount the monitor to from the front to the back here, I mean, I'm just barely clearing like 18 to 19 inches. And you know, it all depends on the angle, and it's going to be a really tight squeeze if I can do it. I'm going to have to do a lot of modifications, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And the thing I do like about the cab, it seems pretty solid. I know I'm going to be doing some modification to it. It's made out of plywood mostly. If you can see there, every bit of that's plywood. Almost every piece, even the sides. The sides are plywood. I think the bottom's plywood. The control panel, every bit of that's plywood. The only thing that's MDF, I believe, is the back panel. And there's a secondary piece of the back panel for the upper part. This is like on a Mortal Kombat or something, the lower part that you can pop off to get access to the back. It's a piece of MDF, and I might replace that with plywood just to, you know, make it more uniform. MDF is, you know, most people know is pretty heavy compared to plywood. It's maybe not twice as heavy, but you know, it's pretty heavy, and if you ever get any moisture around it, it can soak that up and kind of bulge up and, you know, get thicker on you. Plywood, it can like delaminate. It can come apart if it gets really wet. Like a lot of these cabinets have a lot of damage on the bottom. This one has a little bit of damage to the veneer, a little bit of chips. That's pretty common. I may strip every bit of this veneer off if I can without hurting the plywood too much, and just put new veneer on it. If not, I'll use some wood putty to like fill in that scratch there and sand it down, and probably this on the bottom, and then just repaint it. But I'm not sure if I want to go that route or not. Maybe just new laminate if it can be done, and I've never done that, so it'll be a new experience. Probably end up taking every bit of this out right here and replacing it with something to hold the new monitor, and that big giant power supply there, it's definitely going. And there's an isolation transformer down there. I know there's not enough light for you to see, but there's an isolation transformer down there. And I was hoping what I could do actually is, you know, take all this out. I don't need the coin mechs. Don't really need that trackball. It's not any good anyway. The plexi that was over the monitor right there has got a sticker on there, or well, it's tape, and it says on there, game and video okay, no trackball. And so somebody has tested it and they hadn't restored it yet, and they turned it on for me, and it did boot right up. Had a nice looking screen. Didn't like there was any screen burn on this tube there, but you know, the trackball doesn't work, and it'll probably be just as expensive to rebuild a trackball like that if it's even possible. You know, I don't know what it needs, but they've obviously tested it and it doesn't work. It'd be just as expensive probably to rebuild that than to just buy, you know, a brand new one that's compatible with a PC, something I plug in USB or PS2 if I want to put that in the center. And even to do that, this is a rather small control panel, and to make it a two-player, I mean, it's going to be all I can do to fit in 2 joysticks and 2 sets of buttons. It's like I said, it's 3 inches less on width, and that's the entire cabinet. And then the Mortal Kombat, you know, control panel is a little wider than the cabinet anyway. So I mean, I'm probably looking at least, you know, 5 to 6 inches less width on here than on a Mortal Kombat cabinet that's a 2-player. So being able to fit 2 players in here is going to be kind of a stretch. I'm going to do it, and I don't know. I mean, if it's in any way possible to put a trackball in, I mean, it'll have to go in the center, and it'll have to be like a 2.5-inch trackball. It's going to be pretty small, but I was hoping that if I do use this monitor, I may possibly swap the chassis out with one that's in the Mortal Kombat 1 right now, because the chassis in it is a 7400, Wells Gardner K7400, and it doesn't need an isolation transformer. So I've got it hooked up in there, and even though it's hooked to an isolation transformer, it doesn't really need it. And this chassis here does. This K7100 series, it does need an isolation transformer, so I might just either take and swap it out, or I've got to have another K7100 series that has a remote board. This one doesn't have a remote board. All the controls are on the back of the chassis. I may just take this and pack it up as an extra and put the K7100 that was original to the Mortal Kombat 1 that I recapped and all, and just put it right back into Mortal Kombat 1, and use the tube that's already mounted in there, possibly, because it's an excellent tube, almost brand new, no screen burn, and I'd kind of like to keep that in the Mortal Kombat 1 and just use the chassis in here, because it doesn't require an isolation transformer, and it'd be real easy just to hook straight up to whatever my power source ends up being, whether it's a power strip or however I get AC power into here, and I can just get rid of that old isolation transformer that it looks a little rusty anyway, and definitely get rid of that huge honking power supply. All I have is like an ATX model power supply in here to run the PC on. And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to end up, if I've got room mounting the circuit board for the computer, the main board down in here in the bottom or not. I may end up mounting it just like this is, because it looks like I've got room to do it, and it looks like there's enough room for option cards, probably, depending on how I turn the motherboard, to mount it right here, just like this JAMA bowling board is. And this is a JAMA cabinet. It has a JAMA connector on it. That's a JAMA circuit board. I thought that was kind of interesting, but if you tried to test any games in here with the way that monitor was, that'd be sideways, because it was vertically mounted. But there's going to be a lot of changes happening to the cabinet. I haven't made a whole lot of decisions. I just know basically what my basic ideas are, and already got my arcade VGA card there. I think I got a pretty good deal on that. That was on eBay, and it's the AGP version, 128 megabyte arcade VGA by Ultimart, and fella put that up for sale, and as soon as I seen it, I jumped on it, and I made him an offer so he'd end the auction early, because the last time I seen one like this on eBay, I think it might have only been a 64 megabyte version, and it went up in bids all the way to like $200 or more. It was like $200 to $210 when that thing sold, and I said, gosh, these AGP versions must be getting harder to find, and I just made him an offer of $50 plus shipping. I think it was $8 to ship it, and he stopped the auction. He just let me pay him through PayPal, which I really just wanted. I had a bid in. I just want him to, sell to the highest bidder, and I think he didn't know how to do that. But I actually trusted him. I paid him the money, and I had nothing guaranteeing that this would come to me. But his feedback maybe on eBay is all I had, and there's no way I could leave him bad feedback, because he just ended the auction, and we just contacted each other via email, and I went ahead and trusted him, and he got it to me just like he said. And I got a pretty good deal on a I-Pac 2 there, and that circuit board beside it there, that's a SJC. That is a small circuit board they put out a long time ago that works with a 49-way joystick and gives you some inputs. I don't know, maybe something like 10 to 14 inputs for buttons, and then a 49-way joystick. It works kind of like an I-Pac, but I knew I needed an I-Pac 2, and I have a bunch of 49-way joysticks, some spares, and I thought it might be interesting to use one of those, but I doubt I'm going to be able to fit it on this cab. But they're interesting because with that circuit board there, you can use it to emulate practically any type of joystick, anywhere from a 49-way down to a 4-way joystick, and I've heard they work pretty well, but I only have one of them, and I don't even know if I can find another one, because I don't think they're even being made anymore. But I'm sure there's something that is an equivalent to that that's being made. Probably costs a good bit, but I picked that up for $5. A guy shipped it to me from England who was in the arcade controls forum. Only cost me $5, and that I-Pac there, I picked it up off eBay. Nobody else bid on it. I got it for $15 and $10 for shipping, so $25 for an I-Pac 2, and that's pretty much all I needed for this. And what I may end up doing is just building this control panel wider and larger, and just, you know, beef it up and have one that just kind of overhangs by a few inches, comes out the front just a little farther or something, you know. Find a way to do that, and you know, maybe give me more room. Still most likely just going to be a 2-player with a trackball in the middle if I can manage that. I'm not going to have a spinner control or nothing like that. You know, I don't think I ever played that many games that use those type of controls or anything, so I'm not going to go real fancy. I just want the basic, you know, 2-player, be able to play the majority of the MAME arcade games, and I might put some other emulators in there whenever it's finished. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. This is already 15 minutes or so, and just wanted to show you. I'm pretty excited. Definitely got to get this old gold T-molding off here. This is incredibly ugly, and I don't even know if the marquee works. I can't remember when he powered it on. There's that other sticker. It's upside down. They probably flipped this plexi around. That's not glass, that's plexi. But this says Mississippi, so this was in Mississippi in 1994, or at least this piece of plexi was, whatever game it came off of, if they took it off another one. And I'll probably get a new piece of plexi for that. This one's got a couple of scratches and a bunch of residue. I don't know if I feel like cleaning that off. It'd be easier just to cut a new piece. And probably do the same for the monitor plexi when I'm done. That one doesn't look too bad. That's behind the bezel there. But either way, that's the cab, and wish me luck. It'll be fun, but it'll probably take a long time. Talk to you guys later. Take care.